Just a little checklist we can run through real quick, make sure we've done all these things. I believe it. I've done most of it. You know how to pay 31 minutes?
I know. Page 19.
I'm sorry, page 19 of 30.
Page 19.
Yes, sir, page 19 of 31. It's titled Getting Organized.
Oh, getting organized. Okay, staying in compliance.
But as you recall, Mr. St. Columbia, the first meeting of the year, you establish all your rules, your meeting dates, policies that you want.
Okay.
Yes.
Page 19.
Well, the first thing is to make sure everybody's taking oath of office. Since you've been here for a year, you don't have that to worry about. The second thing is, does everyone have a copy of the Freedom of Information Act? If you don't, we'll provide that to you. The third thing is what you just did, you agreed upon your set of rules. Four, do you know your classification? Of course, we are a city of the first class with more than 2,500 residents in the city. Fifth, do you have rules for setting the council agenda? So in this instance, we actually are you satisfied with those rules? We don't make any changes to the rules for setting the agenda. Right now, to be on the agenda, they have to notify the clerk by Thursday before the city council meetings, and the council packets ought to be delivered on Friday before the city council meeting, as soon as practicable under the circumstances. And then if there's an amendment, the city council approved those at the meeting. If there's an amendments or addition to it. Special meetings are called according to state law. 2 council members can sign a notice setting the meeting, and the agenda has to be on the call for the meeting. So there any need or desire, any need to change anything in terms of the way we do public comment, that is, they request to be on the agenda by Thursday before the meeting. They're placed on the agenda. To the extent that there's some writing they can provide, they provide that to the clerk, such that the city council is not surprised by the subject matter the person intends to discuss at the council meeting.
This basically is what we've been working on previous years. There's no change done.
Well, that's the question. Do you want to change?
No, I don't think
Okay. All right, the final one, Kyle, we're on page 19 of 31. Okay. Does everybody understand what constitutes a quorum? Of course, with our city council being 6 people, 4 people is a quorum, the mayor counts as part of the quorum. So any 4, and it takes 4 votes to pass anything. There's one section in which the mayor can't vote. City attorney, if you tell them when it is that the mayor can't vote. Is that
The mayor can vote anytime his vote is needed to pass legislation. It doesn't have to be a tie. It could be anytime we need. There are 6 council members, and regardless, majority and a 2/3 vote are the same, because it takes 4 individuals, and if there are 3 votes in favor of something the mayor wants to vote, the mayor can vote either in a special call meeting or a regular meeting.
That's it on the getting organized. If you want to go through anything else on this. We gave you the entire packet. And that packet comes from Arkansas Municipal League, is available online at armal.org. That and a host of other packets. Man, number C is found on page 25 of the packet. Here's the calendar.
those are basically the days that we meet normally.
That's correct. The calendar as presented is showing regular city council meetings on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock, which is what you've been doing for the last 18 years, I think. And so the dates are circled and numbered and listed out at the bottom.
We can change it if we have to, if we feel necessary.
Yes, sir.
But that standards.
On the regular meeting, you don't have to give any additional notice to the newspaper or to the press or the public. If you're gonna have a different meeting than these, you have to give notice to the press and the public at least 2 hours before the meeting begins.
So the meeting on the 9th is a special call meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Right, but we've already notified via the last city council meeting that you're gonna have a meeting at 6 o'clock on the 9th. You did that 2 weeks ago. And we just had to make sure the press knows about it.
And we
On
got,
this calendar also, your holidays, is that correct?
right, I mean, it's just the standard holiday, it's not necessarily city holiday.
Now, just looking ahead, I noticed where you got November the 5th circle, and that's election day. We're gonna probably have to change that on, or do it.
That's up to you all, if you wanna change.
Actually, you have 2 election days on here. March the 5th also, was St. Columbia. March the 5th is just election day as well.
March the 5th is Super Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are 2 meetings that you probably ought to look at changing.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary for you to change them now. You can change them as they approach, because you may have a better understanding of what the days you're gonna meet on those. But you probably should note that March the 5th and November 5th will be election days. And you likely should reschedule those.
That's one way to have to do it, you know.
Are there any necessary corrections to the calendar?
All right, looking there. D,
The budget workshop dates, the 9th, January 23rd, and the 30th. They're still the same.
so the essence of that is you're meeting every Tuesday this month. Unless you pass the budget sooner than the 30th. Cause you can pass the budget whenever you get ready. As long as it's done by the 1st of February.
And to Ms. Miller's consistent point on that issue, your probably should stick to budget workshops during those meetings so that you can get the budgets done. I know you're meeting next week, but you probably ought to decide which whether the mayor decides or you all decide which. You're not gonna meet with everybody next week, so whichever departments you all desire, you probably ought to go ahead and notify them this evening so that you all can begin department by department working your way through.
All right, but those dates are fine with everybody? Okay, Mr. Mayor, the next item is on page 26 of 31. Banking resolution.
So we're gonna leave this the same.
Unless they want to change it.
And what we have here is the banking resolution as prepared by our city clerk, consistent with what the auditors require. At this time, we have check signers at the mayor, city clerk, treasurer, and council member Etherly, deputy city clerk Diane Tyler Johnson. It limits Mr. Etherly and Ms. Johnson's signing authority to when there's an absence of 2 of the primary signers. Senior District Court Clerk, Ms. Charlotte Hansberry, is given authority to sign on behalf of the district court accounts. And this resolution is needed to comply with the auditors and to make sure the banks enforce whatever your resolution is. So we do this yearly for that purpose.
Pretty well as it is now,
This represents no change from last year.
Right. That's fine.
Right, but it would actually have to be voted on, this one.
Okay. I move that we accept resolution 1/2024.
The Senate fund moves to adopt resolution number 1 of 2024. Second,
Second.
it's made a second motion. In discussion. Roll, please, Madam Clerk.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Etherly?
Yes.
Ms. Davis? Five yes.
We got any minutes?
Yes, sir. The 12th and the 19th were emailed, and there's also a copy on the table.
Uh,
Yeah, motion to adopt the minutes, the 12 and 12/19.
I can't do the one December the 12th, but I can do December the 19th.
So moved.
I move, we accept, minutes for December the 19th.
Ms. Second, moves that we accept the minutes for December 19, 2023. Is there a second? Ms. Davis, second motion, in discussion. Madam, call the roll, please.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Etherly? Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Five yes.
Is there a motion for 12/12/23?
I make a motion.
Ms. Miller makes a motion to approve again for 12/12/23. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Evans, second the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, we call the roll, please.
Ms. Davis?
Abstain.
Mr. Etherly?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Abstain.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Franklin?
Yes.
Okay.
D1 Treasury Report. The treasurer's not here at this time. So we'll go to,
Mayor, I believe we're going to 8A3. And that'll be found at page 29. It's authorization to repair the sanitation truck. Well, Scott, which truck is in the shop? 33 is in the shop. So just, I guess by way of further explanation, I believe I may have emailed you on this. This estimate is for $36,391.07. And it goes through the various work that's to be done on the truck. Looks like the most expensive thing is found on page 29, some kind of complete trunnion stand. But anyway, the truck needs to be repaired. It's in the shop. It's the front end loader for commercial trash. We're currently picking up commercial trash using the knuckle boom truck. But this truck is in the shop. The other truck is out on the lot. It had to be towed in because it quit and needs a motor. And so we do not have a commercial front end loader truck at this time. And so Mr. Collins is asking you all to authorize these repairs and the repair of the what's that thing called? It pushes the trash out the back of the truck. Cylinder. It's a 3-part cylinder that's not functioning either. So once they fix this, it's got to go to the cylinder shop to be repaired. And they estimated between $5,000 and $15,000 for that work. So we're talking about $52,000, I think is what I put in the email. A new truck, $400,000. So, you know, we can pick our parts.
is there a motion to have this truck repaired? Ms. Taylor, to have this truck repaired. Ms. Davis, second the motion. Any discussion?
So is that for both the 25,000 and the 15,000?
The request is for the 52.
52,000 total, okay.
Both of them.
Looks like
Both of them.
That's one bill, Mr. Franklin. Yeah, we don't have the other bill yet. We're gonna present it to you.
it was the 52,000.
So it's the 36 Then we're gonna take it to a cylinder shop that we estimated to be the remaining money. It may be less than that, but we don't have to come back.
All right.
So we asked for $52,000 spending authority to repair that truck.
That's the
That sound right, Rosa?
that lightning load? No.
No, that's the FEL, front end loader,
Front end load.
Yeah. Commercial trash truck.
Gotcha.
It's the one that picks up the metal dumpster like a McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Wendy's, the churches, the place like that. Yeah, huh? School, yes, school for sure. Yeah. They gonna get school data picked up by hand, you hear me? They get that. I think you had a motion in a second, man. I think.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes,
Ms. Davis. Yes. 5 yes.
Mr. Mayor, that's the entire council packet for tonight. That's it. You want to talk about something else? They can, but that's the packet. Is there something that, Mr. Murdoch, we authorized, there's a quote I may have shared with you all to replace some. So this is the thing Mr. Murdoch want me to ask you. There's a quote to repair some valves that control the flow of the water at the water plant. And the guy Parker out of Wynn has submitted a proposal for $124,000 to repair those. Mr. Murdoch thinks that the proposal is a bit on the high side, but he proposed it that way so that he don't get in and start doing the work and be underbidded. But Mr. Murdoch is asking you all for authority to negotiate an hourly rate with the company who would do the valve replacement as opposed to this $124,000, and it may be a substantial savings. But either way, we get the value of his work, and he gets paid for the value of his work. And I don't know what that hourly rate will be. Mr. Murdoch, you want to explain that? But it's valves for this is for the West Helena plant. This for Helena plant. They both need valves.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This proposal from Baldwin, pumps out of wind, is to install, if you've never been to the Helena plant, we've got probably a dozen valves sitting around on the floor that were ordered by the prior administration, but were never installed. They need to be installed because they're part of the treatment process. Very expensive valves. You know that because we bought 3 over for West Helena that we install. So I'm proposing that we negotiate with Mr. Baldwin. He's concerned, obviously, with a hard dollar contract, is upside risk. So he's obviously got his proposal significantly padded so that he does not suffer loss. And we don't want him to suffer loss. We want him to make money, but we don't want him to break the bank either. So I would, sit down with Carl and negotiate a fair and reasonable rate that allows him to make money and allows us to still survive. That's what we're asking.
Not that. Right down.
Beg your pardon?
Would we not do better if we did it out?
It's not a very easily biddable item. And he has replaced a couple of valves back some years ago. It's very complicated, very tedious work. We'll have to shut the plant down a couple of times and replace valves incrementally so that we can get back up, fill the tanks again, and then kind of go at it again. So it's not It's not an easy task, and it's going to be very, very labor intense, equipment intense. And he's got the expertise because he's dealt with complex projects before. But we just,
He's doing the work out in West Helena he's doing the work on the West Helena plant.
he will, yeah,
And what is?
You gotta have people who know what they're doing.
yes, sir.
What is the hourly rate?
When? I need to negotiate that with him, what that hourly rate would be.
Do you have a ballpark idea of how many hours?
Well, what we did, during the catastrophe in July, we were paying $300 an hour for a crew. And I think on one crew, we may have been paying $400 an hour. So. Okay.
And roughly, how many hours during the crisis did we use those roads? Or do you know?
Well, we spent about $200,000. So this situation is not, hopefully not really that severe.
In his bid, he didn't give any indication how he came up with $194,000. He didn't give any indication how he came up with $194,000.
No, his estimate for this project is $124,000.
But there was no indication how he came up with an estimate for
I think we
$124,000.
provided you all with a copy of what his proposal was, did we not?
I didn't think.
Not this.
Well, I just happen to have some with me, I think. Yes, I do.
Multiple copies.
I think there's 10 copies there.
In line.
I think you got some stuff that doesn't go.
This is-
This doesn't go. Yeah, I got one.
And about how many people are on the crew? Approximately how many people are on the crew?
And that's really something that, he would determine. Depending upon what, scope of work he's doing and what his approach is. He's got to cut out existing material. He's got to prep the install pieces for install. He may have as many as 6 people. I don't know. And he's got his equipment also. So these things are very heavy, so he's got to get them in the building. He's got to hoist them into place. And it's, like I said, it's a fairly complicated situation.
Also likely to happen is the holes of whatever things are on for you. Too low. But they've been there so long, they all are rusty and they're part of the chemical in the plant oxidized or something. So that's why. I guess it's a bit more difficult to be just, that's what I'm like I'm gonna fix the tire, $50 because you just unscrew 6 loads, but no, it won't be that simple. Replace the screws, all of that, will make it work. And there'd be other pressure too. But the plants be shut down, they only have a window that they can work in, get the valve changed, or we run out of water. So that has kind of.
This company's worked with us before.
Yes, sir.
In previous years.
Yes, sir. Well, he worked for us during the crisis. He repaired the altitude valve at the West Helena backwash tank in July.
Good job.
You got a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we pay it,
Mr. Second.
that we do it.
Well, the motion that is to authorize Mr. Murdock to negotiate.
Right, negotiate.
And but you gotta get the job done, otherwise we're gonna lose that war.
Well, you have to do a competitive bid and waiver ordinance, because you're talking 124,000 right now is what Murdoch is saying. But you can authorize Mr. Murdoch to negotiate and et cetera, and I don't know, you also, you're not gonna do any business at your workshops, but 2 weeks from now, I could bring the ordinance back if we could have it done by then.
It's gonna probably be more than 2 weeks before we start.
Oh, yeah, it'll be more, because he's got some additional parts and pieces that have to be fabricated that he's got to order. So we're probably 6 to 8 weeks away from any beginning, but we gotta do it while we're in cold weather.
These the only people you talk to get the job done? Are these the only people that you talk to?
But there's one other gentleman that works for us all the time, Jeff Porterfield, but he's a solo practitioner. It's more of a job that he could do individually. So this firm has a staff of people.
This firm's out of Wynn, Arkansas,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Does he need,
Motion to give, Mr. Murray negotiating. Discussion.
What does that mean, say negotiate? And what is it?
well,
What does that stand to?
if I may, Dr. Miller, what the spirit was asking me was to thoroughly negotiate. It's not binding, you're negotiating. I think he can negotiate without having you all to vote on it.
We're giving him permission to negotiate with him on this.
But I'm saying, you're not selecting him, you're giving permission to negotiate. It's basically out of abundance of caution motion that you all are doing, but he can feel free to negotiate. Anyhow, position on something, because you're going to vote on it at some point anyway. But it was good to have some tacit approval from the city council.
It's also gonna be a question of good faith. I mean, the man is gonna wanna negotiate on something this intense, and then you say, well, we're not gonna do it.
I'm saying,
So, I mean, that'd be a second approval required, sure, but I just wanted to know that this is going down the road. The intensity is so high.
We're negotiating in good faith.
Yes, sir.
well, that was a motion second on table.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia.
Yes,
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
5 yes.
While I'm before you, back on December 12th, I provided an informational update that I hope everybody has had an opportunity by now to review. The update included a white paper prepared by Arkansas Rural Water dated August the 4th of 2023, and a preliminary engineering report by ETC Engineers dated September the 27th, 2023. Have all of you had an opportunity to review both of those items at this point? I did. All heads are clear and everybody has a thorough understanding of where we're going. Well, that's excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
Mayor and council members, I think one of the things, as I said earlier, before you all adjourn, you need to decide who you're gonna deal with next week so you can move forward. No, okay, this department's coming in and we're gonna devote time to this department. So you can go through it and deal with the budget in piecemeal fashion until you complete it.
We take we take the police department. We take, code and streets, sanitation, we take the fire department on the next one. And whoever else, water. It's up to you all. We gotta get it done.
I think we should prioritize in terms of which departments are having the most trouble and the most debt and the most issues.
That's up to you all. I don't care which way we do it, as long as we do it. The police department was the biggest.
It used to take a long time to,
Huh?
police used to take a longer period of time.
We didn't start.
No, what we did last time, we like did police and then we did a department that wouldn't take a whole lot of time, so the same thing. police.
That's why I was saying, the police and you know, you got the streets and they're small. You can knock those out, but you get them first, and then let the police department be your last for the night. Because you wanna take one of the big, the police is the biggest, and the next thing you take the fire department, and then you do admin or do code or courts or whatever. You know, courts is smaller, you would do them. But it's up to you all. Yeah, I wanna do, yeah, for the bottom line.
I want to do police and court first. They are in criminal justice system, anyway.
Probably going to the department in there, it's small, so you can get 3 out of the way. And you come back.
So,
That police court. And then they did that 95.
what do you have left? 501 landfill?
Water they need it.
Hmm.
Water they need their own thing.
So, what did you say, 5?
And landfill.
Well, I was thinking sanitation and landfill on the same night.
So 5 sanitation landfill,
Mhm.
is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
And then we add in street.
Third, like water.
Admin, street and water. But that's it on the 30th.
That'd be good.
Desiree, will you go over them one more time?
Yeah. I think. So, first night, police, court and code. And then the second meeting, fire, landfill and sanitation. And then the last, water and street
And admin.
And admin,
and admin.
administrative.
And
So what days are you're doing the first one on the 9th? When will you be doing the second one?
23rd,
23rd and then the 30th, that's right.
correct. And then your regular meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
Uh,
Let me ask you, the 9th, the 23rd, and the 30th are all Tuesdays. The 16th is a regular meeting. Do we want to throw a date in between? Oh, okay, so this is, I always say this, the deadline is February 1st. If we just go over some departments fresh on the 30th, you only have 2 days to work out any differences. So it seems to me that it might be safer to do, than not to have an admin with street and water before the last week. But I don't know what everybody's available.
can we
That way
do
we don't-
9/16 to 23rd? Do we
Yeah.
have to? Does it,
It's up to y'all what days y'all do.
can we do that? Do 9/16 to 23rd? Do we have to?
I like
The 16th have to be a regular?
No, 16th is fine. I like that.
So the 16th
And then that way
would
the
be-
30th could just be like a buffer.
Yeah,
So the 16th is a regular council meeting, but we would hear the department request at that regular meeting, so that's fine. And then we still have a week after that to yeah.
no. So the 9th is police, courts and enforcement. the 16th, fire, landfill and sanitation. The 23rd, water, streets and admin. And then the 30th is if we have any carryover.
To pass it. We don't show it. Okay, that's not passed.
I'm pretty sure you're aware that the ball order has been lifted in West Holland.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody had any questions. I sent an email out kind of explaining.
You mind talking like that?
I'm gonna call for you, Lisa. Are y'all set to know dates and things by acclamation, or y'all gonna vote on that?
We have a problem.
Well, I do have a question though. So any documentation that we're requesting as it relates to administration, when do we need to make that request to who? I mean, when?
You can make it now and you can follow your own rule, because all these are meeting Tuesdays, right? You can tell them before that Friday, on that Friday, we need to have the information for that Tuesday for the workshop, if you want to do it that way. It's up to you how you do it. But as a practical matter, they need to get it to you so you can.
And this is the other thing, Ms. Miller, during this process, if there's any question you got at any time, you need something, we're gonna make every effort to get it to you, even if you ask for it on Tuesday. So that you have comfort in voting, how you decide to vote on the budget, at least you have your questions answered, whatever those are. I don't want you to feel like you don't have enough information.
Right.
So, whenever you want. I can't get nobody to call me.
And as you all go through the budget, so there's no confusion, at the end of it, I don't know if you're gonna have to make these changes, so we come back, you reflect that, et cetera. So as you go forward, you probably need several drafts of the budget that you already have, but you all need to have an understanding of what you're talking about each meeting. So when you get down to the 30th, it's none of this, you snuck this in, you snuck that in. We've gone through and we've compared all the numbers. But since they all on Tuesday, I would just say they get it to you by Friday, and then the chief of staff and the mayor and the city treasurer, city clerk provide you whatever when you need it. There's always going to be something that you don't have. It's just part of the process.
All right, so. Dr. Miller had a question. Y'all ready for me to answer that?
Yeah, we probably don't have to camp on this too long. Just if I read it correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. Department of Health, and we're talking about the boiler. Okay, so Department of Health, they came in, did one of their standard things they do. They say everything, basically their time was cool. They then has, according to the letter, had some other meeting where they pretty much said otherwise. And so then they came back and told us we should do a boil.
Right, so as I understand, Mr. Murdoch is here, he can correct me.
Okay.
But as I understand it, they came down for one of their routine inspections
Right.
type thing. And they did the inspection. After that, they met with Mr. Murdoch and they did their routine debriefing with Mr. Murdoch. No mention of any concern that came forth the next morning. The next morning, they sent an email boil order notice to the mayor and maybe to Mr. Murdoch, and they called the mayor to tell him that they was imposing a precautionary boil order. And of course, the difference in precautionary and contamination boil order, contamination is the water has been found to be contaminated. The precautionary, we don't know whether it's contaminated or not, so we're taking the caution until we can figure that out. So the issue of the roof of the clear well is basically the last place the water sits until before it goes out to the customer. So this is the water that's ready, it's potable water. And this building, as old as it is, decrepit as it is, it has some cracks in the concrete. And they're saying that was when it rained, the water seeped down through those cracks. That's what the theory was. So there was a sanitary survey the health department did back in September. And it mentioned these cracks being there, but there was no urgency to do something about these cracks, or we're gonna do something to you kind of thing. And so, we test the water, they send it in at least twice a month, and it's tested. Since we got out the boil in West Holland in June, July, whenever that was, from that calamity, they've had several tests. None of them have been bad tests. They've all been good samples. And so I may have posted that there was a test sample on December the 6th and one on December the 13th, and both of those were good. The boil order was put in place on December the 21st. So the last test is December the 13th. The test after December the 13th is December the 29th. That test was good. So we've not failed any test. There was no reason for us to have a boiler. Now, the other term is NW, as I call him. The health department, when the mayor and I, Mr. Murdoch, called him, asked him, why are you imposing a boil order on us? You were just here yesterday. You made no mention of any of this on yesterday. They said, well, you self-reported. Says, who self-reported? And what did we report? They said, your employee sent us an email. Okay, who's the employee? And that's when they identified young Mr. Strada. And then after further investigation, Mr. Strada identified Mr. Jeff Patterson as having called in this quote self-report. Well, he can't self-report, he's not an employee, right? But be that as it may, he called in a report. And, you know, to give you the fullness of the fodder, so to speak, the mayor had discontinued Mr. Patterson's relationship with the city earlier in the month. He had been a consultant because he had institutional memory. He was a former administrator, general manager, and all this stuff. And he helped Will and the other guys with some of the stuff that was going on in the department. And at one point, he had a series of licenses. But early in December, chief of police and others went over there and got our stuff from him. And my understanding, I have not spoken to Mr. Patterson, and so I don't know how he felt about it. But he called in this bogus self-report. And then they asked, he told them a video existed, and they asked Mr. Strada to send them the video that Jeff told them existed. And so that's how we ended up getting on the boil order, unnecessarily for Christmas. That was our Christmas gift. Mr. Patterson being, he had non-monetary compensation by way of the old truck he drove and the phone. And he answered the phone, and he did a good job with his customers, generally speaking. But anyway, that's how we got there. And we hope that don't happen again. But it won't be happening because Mr. Patterson's relationship's been severed. I don't know what else he can call in or whatever. I didn't put all that in the email, but that's what it is. And I guess you can tell I'm agitated by it, even today.
Okay, so he was not compensated, but you said we got our stuff. What does that mean?
We got what?
We got our stuff.
No, I say he had non-monetary compensation.
Right.
He was driving the truck and he had a cell phone. Non-monetary compensation. He should get some type of tax, something showing that. Non-monetary compensation. Part of that was an arrangement that he made because he left December of 2022 by virtue of retirement, and he could not be paid with money or would forfeit his retirement benefits.
Okay.
And so he had an arrangement with the city to do some things. And there may be some cash that due to him. I don't know, but it was non-monetary compensation that he did receive for sure. And when that was stopped in early December, I think that's what led us to this point.
I think Mr. Patterson was definitely a huge resource to the city, and I'm not gonna tell y'all what to do. Y'all handle the day-to-day stuff, but hopefully maybe sometime when the smoke clears, maybe y'all can work something out. That's just my opinion, but
Well, I understand.
but that's up to
He
you.
was a resource. Mr. Willie Parnell's been a resource. Mr. Murdoch has explained to you all how much of a deficit we have in resources in the water department in terms of skill sets, licenses, the culture, all those things, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a way that, we got maybe 6 or 8 guys now, and we need 20. Right? We just need more of what we have. The system as it's designed, finding the valve to put off the water in time to save us from draining water out the tank. You know, it's been a difficult journey. But the guys have grown over the years. They've been doing a better job at that. They averted a potential boil over. We had a 6-inch main to break over behind Weavers right before Christmas. You probably didn't hear about it because they got it, fixed it, and it was over. Actually, they found it after 2 o'clock and fixed it before the sun set at 4:30. So they did a good job on that. So anyway, we'll see. The mayor's the chief on the day-to-day operations. He and Murdoch run this water department. I just want people to understand that the water order, it was imposed, and it was, I won't describe it as I'm thinking, but the way it was done was a total surprise to us. And then they called it a self-report when we didn't actually report it. Because on most of the boilers that have been put in place, they have been, we called for one reason or another because the health department rules require that. But for this thing that we did the other day, it didn't require that, I don't think. And we did fix it. We sent to Little Rock, got the equipment, I mean, the paste, whatever we call it, Zypex. Had to go over there and then had to go to Fawcett in the meeting because they sent us 2 of the same. Should have sent us 2 different cans. But anyway, Mr. Murdoch found Jed Bond out of Mariana to do the application. They came out on holiday and did that. We had several conference calls to get it set up. We followed what they told us to do, and they approved most of the stuff over the phone. They were very cooperative. And I say this for those who are listening, Governor Huckabee Sanders has been very instrumental in assisting the mayor throughout this process. And so she told her people to answer this call, do what needs to be done. And as it relates to this boiler, they did that. And that's how we end up getting off on a Saturday as opposed to today or some other day after the holiday. They actually had to go in and test our water samples during the holiday. So we did that. Y'all got any other questions? Nah. St. Columbia, you good?
Before we adjourn, we have had a number of COVID cases in some departments. So some of our employees are out, but we are, before you all came here, the building was sanitized and disinfected. I want to let y'all know that COVID numbers are picking back up in Phillips County, so you probably want to go back to wearing your mask because it is getting bad. A lot of our employees are out. So for the city clerk's office, the mayor's office, court, city hall, all city hall, we had that disinfected today at no cost. We'll be putting the ozone machine in here tonight, so everything can be ready. We're trying to make sure our people are safe and are able to work. So I just want to let y'all know that's what we're doing at City Hall, and other departments are putting on masks. The flu and all these other things are getting kind of bad. So just want to let y'all know what we're doing at City Hall to make sure we can so our employees can continue to work. That's what I have.
You cover everything we need to do tonight.
Everything is covered.
Yeah, I'm moving to join
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.